Captain Jake Morrison stared at the screen in front of him. The image showed a burning planet. Cities were on fire. Ships were falling from the sky like broken toys. He had seen this same scene dozens of times in the past 3 years, but it never got easier to watch. "Captain, we're getting more refugee ships," said Lieutenant Amy Carter from her station. She was young, maybe 25, with short brown hair and tired eyes. 17 vessels trying to escape the battle zone. "Any of them hurt?" Jake asked. "3 are damaged. They won't make it to safe space without help." Jake rubbed his forehead. The same choice again. Help the refugees and risk being seen, or watch them die in the cold darkness of space. His ship, the Shadowhawk, was invisible to alien sensors. It was one of Earth's most advanced stealth ships. But if they help those refugees, they might give away their position. "Sergeant Davis, what's the enemy situation?" Jake called out. Pete Davis, a big man with gray hair and steady hands, checked his weapons display. 2 Zephyrian patrol groups about 4 million kilometers away. They're hunting for survivors. If we move to help those refugees, we'll be right in their path. Jake closed his eyes for a moment. 3 years ago, when the war started, these choices had been easy. Earth's government said stay hidden, stay quiet, and don't get involved. But after watching hundreds of worlds burn, those orders felt like chains around his heart. The war had started when 2 massive alien groups began fighting for control of the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire wanted to rule everything under one iron fist. The Hegemony Alliance claimed they fought for freedom, but Jake had seen what their idea of freedom looked like. Both sides killed anyone who got in their way. Earth had the power to stop the war. Human technology was far ahead of anything. The aliens had. Their ships were faster, their weapons stronger, and their stealth systems made them invisible. But Earth's leaders remembered their own terrible wars. They did not want to bring death to the stars. "Dr. Brooks, what do you think?" Jake asked, the ship's science officer. Lisa Brooks was a small woman with bright red hair and smart green eyes. She studied alien life and had become an expert on both sides of the war. "The refugee ships are carrying families, Jake. Children. If we don't help them, they'll all die in the next hour." Jake looked around his bridge. His crew had been with him for 2 years. They had watched world after world fall to the war. They had recorded terrible crimes and sent the reports back to Earth, but they had never fired a shot in anger. "Amy, plot a course to the refugee ships. Keep us in stealth mode. Pete, charge the weapons but don't lock on to anything yet. Lisa, prepare the medical bay for wounded." "Yes, sir," his crew said together. The Shadowhawk moved through space like a ghost. It made no sound and left no trail. The alien patrol ships passed nearby, but their sensors showed nothing. To them, the area was empty. Jake's ship reached the refugee vessels just as the first one began to break apart. Its engines were failing, and life support was shutting down. Without help, everyone on board would be dead in minutes. "This is Captain Morrison," Jake said over the radio using the alien language. "We are here to help. Follow our ship to safety." The alien voices that answered were full of fear and hope. They did not know who was helping them. They could not see the Shadowhawk even when it was right next to them. But they followed the guidance signals Jake's crew sent out. One by one, the refugee ships limped toward safety. The Shadowhawk used its tractor beam to help the damaged vessels. It shared power with ships that were running out of energy. All the while, Jake watched for enemy patrols. 3 more Zephyrian ships coming. "In," Pete reported. "They've found the refugee trail." "How long until the refugees reach the safe zone?" Jake asked. 40 minutes, Amy said. "The enemy will catch them in 20. Jake made his choice. "Pete, target the enemy engines only. We're going to give those families time to escape." The Shadowhawk's weapons were like nothing the aliens had ever seen. They bent space itself and could punch through any armor. When Jake's ship fired, the 3 enemy vessels stopped dead in space. Their engines were completely destroyed, but their crews were alive. The confused alien voices filled the radio channels. They could not understand what had happened. Their ships had been attacked by invisible weapons. Some called it magic. Others thought they had been hit by the spirits of the dead. "Ghost ships," one Zephyrian pilot whispered. "The ghost ships are real." Jake said nothing. He watched the refugee vessels reach the safe zone. 17 ships full of families were now safe from the war, at least for a while. But Jake knew this was just a small victory. The war was getting worse every day. "Captain," Lisa said quietly, "I'm reading something strange from the Zephyrian home systems. They're building something big. Really big." "What kind of big?" Lisa's face went pale as she read her instruments. "The energy readings are off the charts. Whatever they're building, it's designed to destroy entire planets from orbit." Jake felt a cold fear in his stomach. He had hoped the war could not get any worse. He was wrong. Back on Earth, Director Steve Harper sat in his office reading reports from dozens of stealth ships like the Shadowhawk. Every day brought news of new horrors. Every day more voices called for Earth to join the fight. But Harper remembered the old wars. He remembered when humans had nearly destroyed themselves with their own violence. He would not let that happen to the galaxy. Not yet, anyway. Far away, in the darkness between stars, Warlord Vextar of the Zephyrian Empire stood before a massive construction project. The planet Cracker was almost ready. Soon, he would have the power to break worlds with a single shot, and he had heard the reports about ghost ships, invisible vessels that appeared from nowhere to help refugees and attack his patrols. Vexatar did not believe in ghosts. Someone was interfering with his war, and he would find out who. When he did, he would make them pay. 6 months had passed since Jake Morrison first helped the refugee ships. The war had grown much worse. Both sides now used weapons that should never exist. The Zephyrian Empire had finished building their planet Cracker. Warlord Vextar had already used it 3 times. 3 worlds were now nothing but floating rocks in space. Billions of innocent people had died in seconds. The Hegemony Alliance had answered with their own terrible weapon. They created a virus that changed living beings into mindless slaves. Entire populations turned into walking dead, following orders without question or thought. On Earth, people watched the news reports with growing anger. Every day brought pictures of destroyed cities and dead children. Every day brought more calls. To join the fight, Admiral John Hayes stood before the Terran Council in Geneva. He was a tall man with gray hair and hard eyes. He had fought in Earth's last war 40 years ago. He knew the cost of violence, but he also knew the cost of doing nothing. "We cannot stay quiet any longer," Hayes said to the council members. "Every day we wait, more innocent people die. We have the power to stop this madness." Director Harper shook his head. "Admiral, you know our history. When humans go to war, we don't stop until everything is destroyed. Do you want to turn the galaxy into a graveyard?" "The galaxy is already becoming a graveyard," Hayes replied. "The difference is we didn't cause it this time." In the back of the room, Dr. Tony Kim raised his hand. He was Earth's best expert on alien thinking. He had studied both sides of the war for 3 years. "Director Harper, I have some troubling news," Dr. Kim said. "I've been studying communications from both the Zephyrians and the Hegemony. They don't see other species as equal. In their minds, this war isn't about conquest. It's about cleaning the galaxy of inferior life." The room went quiet. Finally, someone asked, "What do you mean?" "I mean they plan to kill everyone who isn't like them. Every species, every world, every family. They're not trying to rule the galaxy. They're trying to empty it." Director Harper felt sick. "Are you certain?" "I've translated thousands of their messages. They call other species biological waste and genetic pollution. This war won't end until one side wins completely, and whoever wins will keep killing until only they remain." The debate went on for hours. Some council members wanted to send weapons to help the refugees. Others wanted to build bigger walls around Earth. A few wanted to attack both sides and force them to make peace. While Earth argued, the war continued to spread. Commander Kate Hayes flew her destroyer, the Thunder Bay, through the wreckage of another dead system. She was Admiral Hayes' daughter, but she had earned her rank through skill, not family connections. For the past month, she had been secretly helping refugee ships reach safety. "Captain, we're getting a distress call," said her communications officer. "It's from a medical ship. They're carrying wounded civilians from the Altara colony." Kate checked her sensors. The medical ship was damaged and slow. 3 Zephyrian attack ships were closing in fast. In 10 minutes, hundreds of innocent people would be dead. Battle stations, Kate ordered. We're going to give those families a chance. The Thunder Bay was not a stealth ship like Jake Morrison's Shadowhawk. When Kate attacked, the enemy would see her coming. But she had made her choice months ago. Some things were more important than staying hidden. The Thunder Bay's weapons lit up space. The human destroyer was faster and stronger than the alien ships, but there were 3 of them. Kate's crew fought with skill and courage, but they could not hide what they were. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself," the Zephyrian commander demanded over the radio. Kate smiled coldly. "This is Commander Hayes of Earth. You are attacking innocent people. Leave now or be destroyed." The name Earth sent shockwaves through the Zephyrian fleet. For 3 years, they had heard rumors about ghost ships and invisible attackers. Now, they knew the truth. The legendary humans were real, and they were fighting back. The battle was short, but fierce. Kate's ship destroyed 2 enemy vessels and crippled the 3rd. The medical ship escaped to safety with its precious cargo of wounded refugees. But the cost was high. The surviving Zephyrian ship had recorded everything. Now both sides of the war knew that Earth was no longer neutral. That same day, disaster struck closer to home. Captain Ryan Bell was a good man who loved exploring new worlds. His ship, the Horizon, carried 800 scientists and their families. They were studying a dead system near the edge of human space, looking for clues about an ancient civilization. Ryan thought they were safe. The system was empty except for old ruins and floating rocks. No one had been there for thousands of years. He was wrong. Commander Krulvin of the Zephyrian Empire had been hunting for the ghost ships for months. His small fleet of scout vessels had been checking every empty system, looking for clues about who was helping the refugees. When Krulvin's sensors found the Horizon, he could not believe his luck. A human ship, alone and undefended. The perfect prize. "Surround them," Krulvin ordered. "Disable their engines, but don't destroy the ship. I want prisoners." Ryan Bell tried to run, but it was too late. The Horizon was an exploration ship, not a warship. Against 6 Zephyrian attack vessels, it had no chance. "This is Captain Bell," Ryan said over the radio as enemy weapons hit his ship. "We are scientists, not soldiers. We have families on board, including children." Krulvin laughed. "Perfect. Children make the best leverage." The Horizon's engines died. Its weapons were destroyed. Life support began to fail. Ryan had no choice but to surrender. As Zephyrian soldiers boarded his ship, Ryan sent out a secret message. It was coded and hidden, designed to look like normal space noise. But human computers would recognize it as a distress call. The message was simple. "Horizon captured, 800 souls. Send help." Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the ship's medical officer, tried to protect the wounded as alien soldiers stormed through the corridors. She was a small woman, but she had a fierce heart. When a Zephyrian soldier raised his weapon toward an injured child, Elena stepped between them. "You want to hurt someone? Hurt me. Leave the children alone." The soldier smiled cruelly, but Krulvin stopped him. "Not yet. First, we learn what we can from them." The survivors were herded into the ship's cargo bay. Ryan Bell stood with his people, trying to stay calm. He knew that help would come. Earth never abandoned its people. But he also knew that help might come too late. On Earth, Admiral Hayes stood in the command center as the Horizon's distress signal came through. His hands shook as he read the message. 800 people, including children, were now prisoners of an enemy that had already proven it would do anything to win. "Sir," his aide said quietly, "the Terran Council is meeting in emergency session. They want to know if you recommend a rescue mission." Hayes looked at the star map showing where the Horizon had been captured. It was deep in enemy space, surrounded by Zephyrian patrol fleets. A rescue mission would be dangerous and might start a full war with Earth, but those were his people out there. Human families who had trusted Earth to keep them safe. "Tell the Council I'll be there in 10 minutes, Hayes said, "and tell them to be ready for a long debate." Far away in the darkness of the captured Horizon, Ryan Bell held his daughter's hand and whispered that everything would be okay. He hoped he was not lying. The war was about to change forever. The emergency meeting of the Terran Council lasted 18 hours. Representatives from every human world spoke about the fate of the 800 people trapped on the horizon. Some argued that a rescue mission would bring the full fury of the Zephyrian Empire down on Earth. Others said that abandoning innocent people would make humans no better than the aliens who were destroying the galaxy. Director Harper sat at the head of the great table, listening to every word. His face showed no emotion, but inside, his heart was breaking. For 3 years he had kept Earth out of the war. Now that peace was slipping away. "We must think about the bigger picture," said Representative Lisa Wang from Mars Colony. "If we attack the Zephyrians, they will attack us. Are we ready to sacrifice millions to save 800? Admiral Hayes stood up. His voice was steady but full of pain. "Representative Wang, those 800 people are not numbers on a report. They are families. They are children who trusted us to keep them safe. If we abandon them now, what kind of people are we?" "The kind who survive," Wang replied. Dr. Kim cleared his throat. "I have been studying the communications from the captured ship. The Zephyrians are not just holding our people prisoner. They are torturing them for information about Earth's technology and location." The room went silent. Finally, Harper asked, "What kind of information?" "Everything. Our defensive systems, our ship designs, our military strength. But most important, they want to know where Earth is. So far, Captain Bell and his crew have not broken. How long can they hold out?" Dr. Kim's face was grim. "The Zephyrians have techniques that can break anyone eventually. Commander Krulvin is very good at causing pain. I estimate our people have maybe 2 weeks before someone tells them what they want to know." Another representative spoke up. "Then, we evacuate Earth and the colonies. We disappear into deep space until this war is over." "Run away?" Hayes asked. "Leave every other species in the galaxy to die while we hide in the dark?" "Yes," Wang said firmly. "That is exactly what we should do. Earth's survival is more important than the galaxy's problems." The debate raged on. Some wanted to negotiate with the Zephyrians. Others wanted to attack immediately. A few suggested giving up and hoping for mercy. Finally, Harper called for a vote. The room fell quiet as each representative made their choice. The numbers were close, very close. 847 votes for a rescue mission, the vote counter announced. 853 votes against. Harper closed his eyes. By 6 votes, Earth had chosen to abandon its people. But Admiral Hayes was not finished. "Director, Harper, I request permission to speak to the full Global Assembly. John, the vote is done. The Terran Council speaks for Earth's government, but the Global Assembly speaks for Earth's people. I want to ask them what they think we should do." Harper knew this was dangerous. The Global Assembly included representatives from every city and town on Earth. If they voted to help the Horizon, it would overturn the Terran Council's decision. Earth would be committed to war. "Very well," Harper said. "But you know what this means. If the Assembly votes for rescue, there's no going back." 2 days later, Hayes stood before 10,000 representatives in the Great Hall of the Global Assembly. Behind him, a huge screen showed pictures of the families trapped on the horizon. Children playing in the ship's recreation areas. Scientists working to understand the universe. Ordinary people living ordinary lives until the war found them. 3 years ago, we decided to stay out of the Galactic War, Hayes began. "We told ourselves that it was not our fight. We said that other people's problems were not our responsibility. We were wrong." The hall was completely silent. Every person there had seen the reports from the war zones. Every person there had watched worlds burn on the evening news. The Zephyrians and the hegemony are not fighting for territory or resources. They are fighting to decide which species gets to survive. Every day we stay neutral. More innocent people die. Every day we do nothing, we become more responsible for their deaths. Hayes pointed to the screen. Captain Ryan Bell could have stayed safe on Earth. Dr. Elena Rodriguez could have worked in a comfortable hospital. But they chose to explore the galaxy and help others understand it. Now they need our help. Are we going to abandon them? A representative from Australia stood up. "Admiral, if we save these 800 people, how many more will die when the aliens attack Earth?" "I don't know," Hayes admitted. "Maybe none, maybe millions. But I know this. If we abandon our own people when they need us most, we stop being human. We become just another species fighting for survival instead of living for something better. The vote was not close this time. 87% of the global assembly voted to rescue the Horizon. Earth was going to war. Jake Morrison received his new orders 3 hours later. His stealth ship, the Shadowhawk, had been upgraded with weapons that could bend space and time. His mission was simple: get to the Horizon, rescue the prisoners, and get out without starting a full-scale war. Impossible missions are our specialty, Pete Davis said as he checked the new weapons systems. Commander Kate Hayes had volunteered for the mission. Her destroyer, the Thunder Bay, would provide backup if things went wrong. She had already proven she was willing to fight for innocent people. The strike team also included Captain Sam Parker and his stealth cruiser, the Ghost Walker. Sam was a quiet man who had spent years mapping enemy territory. He knew the location of every Zephyrian base and patrol route. Dr. Lisa Brooks would handle any alien technology they encountered. She had studied Zephyrian systems for 3 years and could operate their computers better than most aliens could. Master Sergeant Billy Cole commanded the Marine team that would board the Horizon. Billy was a big man with gentle eyes and hands that could break steel. His Marines were volunteers who knew they might not come home. The rescue fleet left Earth on a Tuesday morning. It would take them 6 days to reach the Horizon's last known position. Jake spent those days studying intelligence reports and planning the mission. What he found was not encouraging. The Horizon was being held in a heavily defended system. At least 50 Zephyrian ships patrolled the area. The prisoners were being held on a space station that could destroy any rescue ship with a single shot. "This is going to be interesting," Amy Carter said as she plotted their approach route. "That's one word for it," Jake replied. On the 6th day, they reached the edge of the enemy system. Jake's sensors showed him the Horizon, docked to a massive Zephyrian station. Around it, enemy ships moved in careful patterns, watching for any sign of attack. "There," Lisa said, pointing to her screen. "I'm reading human life signs on the station. About 200 people." Jake's heart sank. "What about the other 600? Lisa's voice was very quiet. "I'm not reading them anywhere." "Jake, they were too late to save everyone. But they could still save the survivors. All ships, this is Morrison. We go in fast and quiet. Sam, take your ship around to the far side of the station. Kate, wait here until we need you. Billy, get your Marines ready." The Shadowhawk moved through space like a ghost. Its stealth systems made it invisible to alien sensors. Jake brought his ship close to the station, looking for a way inside. What he found made him sick with anger. Through the station's windows, he could see human prisoners being tortured. Zephyrian soldiers were using electric weapons on people who were tied to metal tables. The aliens were laughing as they caused pain. "Jake," Lisa whispered. "I can see Captain Bell. He's still alive, but barely." Jake looked at the screen. The brave explorer who had sent the distress call was now broken and bleeding, but his eyes still showed defiance. Even after days of torture, he had not given up Earth's secrets. "Billy, get your team ready. We're going in hard." The Shadowhawk's weapons cut through the station's hull like it was made of paper. Billy and his Marines poured through the holes, their advanced armor protecting them from the vacuum of space. The battle inside the station was fierce but short. The Marines had trained for this kind of fight their whole lives. The Zephyrians had never faced anything like human soldiers who fought not just for victory, but for the innocent people they were trying to save. Jake found Captain Bell in a torture chamber deep inside the station. The explorer was unconscious, his body broken by days of alien cruelty. But he was alive. "Ryan," Jake said softly, "this is Jake Morrison. We're here to take you home." Bell's eyes opened slowly. "My crew? We're getting everyone we can. Just hold on." Dr. Elena Rodriguez was found in the station's medical bay. She had been forced to treat wounded Zephyrian soldiers while her own people suffered. When she saw the human Marines, she broke down and cried. "I tried to keep them alive," she sobbed. "I tried to help everyone, but they killed so many." "You did your best," Billy Cole said gently. "That's all anyone can do." As the rescue continued, Jake made a terrible discovery. The Zephyrians had not just been torturing the prisoners for information. They had been studying human technology. trying to reverse engineer Earth's advanced systems. "Lisa, look at this," Jake called. The science officer joined him at a computer terminal that was analyzing pieces of human equipment. "They've learned enough to track our quantum signatures," Lisa said, her face pale with fear. "Jake, they can follow our trail back to human space." "How long before they find Earth?" 3 weeks after the rescue of the Horizon survivors, Earth's long-range sensors detected something that made every human leader's blood run cold. The largest fleet in galactic history was moving toward human space. Over 10,000 Zephyrian warships, led by their massive planet cracker weapons, were heading straight for humanity's colonies. Their target was New California, a peaceful farming world home to 50 million people. It was humanity's largest agricultural colony, feeding dozens of other worlds. It was also completely defenseless. Admiral Hayes stood in Earth's command center, watching the enemy fleet approach on the main screen. Each red dot represented a ship designed to kill. There were so many dots that they looked like a spreading disease across the star map. "How long until they reach New California?" Hayes asked. 18 days, replied his aide, a young officer named Lieutenant Jack Turner. "The evacuation ships can maybe get 10 million people out in time." Hayes closed his eyes. 40 million innocent people would die if Earth could not stop this fleet. And Earth's entire military only had 400 ships, even counting the new vessels rushing to completion in the shipyards. "What about our technological advantages?" Hayes asked. Captain Morrison, now promoted to Commodore after his successful rescue mission, studied the tactical reports. "Sir, our ships are much better than theirs. We estimate each of our vessels can destroy about 50 enemy ships before being destroyed. But the math is still terrible." Hayes did the calculation in his head. 400 human ships could destroy 20,000 alien ships before being wiped out. That would leave the Zephyrians with an army big enough to crack every human world. "We need a miracle," Hayes muttered. "Or we need to be smarter than they are," said a new voice. Everyone turned to see Director Harper walking into the command center. The civilian leader looked like he had not slept in days, but his eyes were determined. "Steve, what are you thinking?" Hayes asked. "I'm thinking that we've been fighting this war like it's still the old days, big fleets shooting at each other until one side runs out of ships. But humans have never won wars by being stronger. We win by being cleverer." Harper pointed to the star map. "The Zephyrians are coming at us in one massive group. They think their size makes them unstoppable, but a big group has weaknesses that a small group doesn't have." Jake Morrison stepped forward. "What kind of weaknesses?" "Supply lines, communication, delays, coordination problems, and most important, they can't all fight at the same time. Only the ships on the outside of their formation can actually shoot at us." Hayes began to understand. "You want to hit them in small groups instead of one big battle." "Exactly. We use our stealth technology to pick apart their fleet piece by piece. Make them chase us through asteroid fields and nebulas where their numbers don't matter. Force them to split up so we can fight them on even terms." It was a desperate plan, but it was better than trying to fight 10,000 ships at once. Jake Morrison took command of the advanced scout force. His job was to slow down the enemy fleet and break it into smaller pieces. His ships would use hit and run tactics, striking fast and disappearing before the aliens could respond. The first attack came near the Titan Station defense line. Jake led 12 stealth ships against the outer edge of the Zephyrian fleet. They appeared out of nowhere, destroyed 200 enemy vessels in 30 seconds, and vanished back into space. The alien response was exactly what Jake had hoped for. Angry and confused, they sent 3,000 ships to hunt for the attackers. Now the main fleet was smaller and the hunting force was isolated. Commander Kate Hayes was waiting for them. Her destroyer squadron had hidden in the rings of a gas giant, invisible among the ice and rock. When the Zephyrian hunting force arrived, Kate's ships opened fire from every direction at once. "This is for the Horizon," Kate said as her weapons tore through enemy hulls. The battle lasted 6 hours. Kate's 50 ships faced 3,000 alien attackers in a maze of asteroids and gravity wells. The humans used every trick they knew. They hid behind rocks, used the gas giant's gravity to slingshot around their enemies, and coordinated their attacks with computer precision. When the shooting stopped, 800 Zephyrian ships were destroyed, and the rest were running away. Kate had lost 15 ships, but she had proven that human tactics could beat alien numbers. The pattern continued. For 2 weeks, the Zephyrians would send out hunting groups, and the humans would destroy them. Each victory made the enemy fleet smaller and more nervous, but the victories came at a terrible cost. Earth was losing ships faster than the shipyards could replace them. Brave crews died in the cold darkness of space, far from home. Every day brought news of friends who would never come back. Captain Sam Parker led a desperate attack on a Zephyrian supply convoy. His stealth cruiser and 4 escort ships destroyed the enemy fuel tankers, leaving hundreds of alien warships stranded, but Sam's ship was damaged in the fight, and he had to crash land on a dead moon. "Sam, this is Morrison. Can you hear me?" Sam's voice came through the radio, weak but determined. "I'm here, Jake. Ship's a total loss, but my crew is alive." "We'll come get you." "Negative. The main enemy fleet is only 6 hours behind you. Get out of here and keep fighting." Jake wanted to argue, but he knew Sam was right. The mission was more important than any one crew, even friends. "Sam, it's been an honor serving with you." "Same here, buddy." "Give them hell." Sam Parker and his crew were rescued 3 days later by a fast courier ship, but his sacrifice showed how desperate the situation had become. Meanwhile, on New California, the evacuation continued around the clock. Huge cargo ships loaded with families lifted off every few minutes, but there were 50 million people on the planet and only so many ships. Governor Patricia Allen stood on the balcony of the Capitol building, watching the stream of vessels rising into the sky. She was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes, but today she looked very tired. "Ma'am," her aide said quietly, "the last evacuation ships will leave in 6 hours. We can get maybe 2 million more people out." Allen nodded. She had already decided to stay behind with the 48 million who could not be saved. If New California was going to die, it would not die alone. "Send a message to Admiral Hayes," she said. "Tell him we understand what he's trying to do. New California will hold as long as we can." The final battle began when the Zephyrian main fleet reached New California's orbit. Despite all of Jake Morrison's hit-and-run attacks, 6,000 enemy ships had survived the journey. Their planet cracker weapon pointed down at the world like a giant gun. Admiral Hayes led humanity's last fleet to defend the colony. 200 ships against 6,000. The human vessels were faster and stronger, but they were vastly outnumbered. "All ships, this is Admiral Hayes. Today we fight not just for New California, but for every innocent person in the galaxy. Make every shot count." The space battle that followed would be remembered as the largest in human history. Earth's ships darted between the massive alien vessels like angry hornets, their advanced weapons cutting through enemy hulls. The Zephyrians responded with overwhelming firepower, filling space with energy beams and missiles. Kate Hayes led her squadron in a desperate attack on the planet cracker itself. The massive weapon was protected by hundreds of escort ships, but Kate's destroyers punched through the defenses like they were made of paper. "Target the main reactor," Kate ordered. "If we can disable that thing, maybe we can save the planet." Her ships poured fire into the planet cracker's hull. Explosions rippled along its surface as human weapons found vital systems. For a moment, it looked like the attack might succeed. Then the Zephyrian reserves arrived. 2,000 more enemy ships dropped out of hyperspace behind the human fleet. Admiral Hayes realized with sick certainty that this had been a trap. The aliens had held back part of their force to surround the humans when they tried to defend New California. "All ships, emergency jump to hyperspace," Hayes ordered. "We can't win this fight." But it was too late. The Zephyrians had deployed hyperspace jammers. No human ship could escape. They would have to fight until the end. On the planet below, Governor Allen watched the battle rage in the sky above her world. Ships exploded like distant fireworks while the planet cracker slowly charged its terrible weapon. "Ma'am," her aide said, "the weapon will fire in 10 minutes. Allen took a deep breath. "Then we have 10 minutes to make our peace with the universe." But in the depths of space, something was happening that no one expected. Admiral Hayes received a message on a frequency that only one person knew. "John, this is Steve Harper. Project Lazarus is go. Repeat, Project Lazarus is go." Hayes almost couldn't believe it. Project Lazarus was Earth's most secret program. For 50 years, human scientists had been preparing for this exact moment. "All ships fall back to minimum safe distance," Hayes ordered, and prepare to be amazed. Throughout human space, hidden devices began to activate. Buried on asteroids, concealed in dead systems, camouflaged as space debris, thousands of automated factories came online. These were civilization seeds, capable of building entire industrial complexes in a matter of hours. The death of Admiral John Hayes sent shockwaves through both the human and alien fleets. The man who had dedicated his life to protecting others had given everything to save New California. His sacrifice bought Earth 6 precious hours before the planet Cracker could fire again. Commander Kate Hayes took over her father's command from the bridge of her damaged destroyer. Tears ran down her face, but her voice was steady as she spoke to the surviving human ships. "My father believed that some things are worth dying for," she said. "Today we prove he was right." Around New California's orbit, the space battle continued. The humans were still vastly outnumbered, but something had changed. The alien ships seemed confused, uncertain. Their sensors were picking up strange energy, readings from throughout human space. Warlord Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, studying the reports with growing concern. His intelligence officers were telling him impossible things. "Sir, we're detecting massive industrial activity in over 200 human systems," one officer reported. "New shipyards are coming online every hour." "That's impossible," Vextar snarled. "Industrial facilities take years to build." "Sir, with respect, the humans have technology we don't understand. Our spies report that automated factories are building other factories, which then build ships and weapons." Vextar felt the first stirrings of fear. For 3 years, he had thought of humans as just another species to be conquered. Now he was beginning to understand that he had awakened something terrible. The first wave of new human ships arrived, just as the planet Cracker finished recharging. 1,500 vessels dropped out of hyperspace around New California, their hulls gleaming with fresh construction. But these were not like the ships the aliens had seen before. These vessels moved with impossible speed and fired weapons that bent the laws of physics. When their torpedoes hit alien ships, entire vessels simply vanished from existence. Commodore Jake Morrison led the counterattack from his new flagship, a massive vessel called the Earth's Fury. The ship was built using technology that human scientists had only dreamed about 6 months ago. "All ships, target the planet Cracker," Jake ordered. "That thing dies today." The battle for the Zephyrian superweapon was fierce. Hundreds of alien ships threw themselves at the advancing human fleet, trying to protect their ultimate weapon. But the new human vessels cut through their defenses like they were made of paper. Dr. Tony Kim's secret weapon proved to be the key to victory. For months, he had been developing a computer virus designed to turn the aliens' own technology against them. When human ships got close enough to the enemy fleet, they transmitted the virus directly into Zephyrian computer systems. The results were devastating. Alien ships began firing on each other as their computers told them that nearby vessels were enemies. Entire squadrons destroyed themselves while their crews screamed in confusion. "What is happening?" Vextar demanded as his own ship's weapons turned toward a nearby vessel. "The humans have infected our computers," his science officer replied, frantically trying to regain control. "The virus is making our ships attack each other." Vextar realized that he was facing an enemy unlike any he had ever encountered. These humans did not just have better technology, they had better minds. They thought in ways that no Zephyrian could predict or counter, but Vextar was not. Finished. He activated his personal guard and fought his way to the planet Cracker's control room. If he could fire the weapon manually, he could still destroy New California. Jake Morrison led a boarding party directly onto Vextar's flagship. Master Sergeant Billy Cole and his Marines cleared the way through corridors filled with desperate alien soldiers. "Jake, the planet Cracker is charging again," Dr. Lisa Brooks reported from her station. "Someone's operating it manually." "How long do we have?" 3 minutes. Jake and Billy raced through the alien ship, following the signs toward the weapon control center. Behind them, human Marines fought running battles with Zephyrian guards who would rather die than surrender. They found Vextar in a massive chamber filled with control panels and energy conduits. The alien warlord was working frantically to charge the planet Cracker while his personal guards held the door. "Human," Vextar said without looking up from his controls. "You are too late." In 90 seconds, your precious colony will be dust. I don't think so, Jake replied, raising his weapon. The fight was brutal, but short. Vexitar was a skilled warrior, but he had never faced a human soldier trained for this kind of combat. When it was over, the alien warlord lay dying on the floor of his own control room. You think you have won? Vexitar gasped with his last breath. But the Hegemony Alliance will see what you have done here. They will unite with us against the real threat. You. Jake disabled the planet Cracker just as it was about to fire. New California was safe. But Vexitar's final words proved to be prophetic. Within hours of the battle's end, both the Zephyrian Empire and the Hegemony Alliance sent messages to Earth. They wanted to negotiate. The meeting took place on a neutral space station in the border region between human and alien territory. Commander Kate Hayes, now promoted to Admiral after her father's death, represented Earth. She sat across from representatives of both alien factions, knowing that her words would determine the future of the galaxy. You want to negotiate? Kate said calmly. After 3 years of destroying worlds and killing billions of innocent people, what exactly do you want to talk about? The Zephyrian representative, a scarred veteran named General Crixfall, spoke first. The Empire recognizes that humanity possesses superior technology. We propose an alliance. Together, we can bring order to the galaxy. Order, Kate repeated. You mean your kind of order, where only Zephyrians are allowed to live. The Hegemony representative, a sophisticated alien called Ambassador Therlin, smiled coldly. The Hegemony offers a better proposal. Join us in destroying the Zephyrian Empire. Then we can discuss how to divide the galaxy between our peoples. Kate looked at both aliens with disgust. You still don't understand, do you? This isn't about dividing the galaxy. This isn't about who gets to rule whom. This is about justice. She stood up, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had earned her rank through courage and sacrifice. Earth stayed silent while you burned the galaxy. We watched civilizations die while you fought for dominance. You mistook our restraint for weakness, our compassion for cowardice. Now you know the truth. Kate's words were broadcast throughout human space and beyond. Every species in the galaxy heard what she said next. Humanity doesn't seek conquest or dominance. We seek justice, and justice has come for all who prey upon the innocent, she pointed at the alien representatives. Both of your factions have committed crimes that cannot be forgiven. You have destroyed worlds, enslaved populations, and treated other species like animals. That ends now. You cannot fight both of our empires, General Crixfall protested. Even with your superior technology, we have billions of ships. Kate smiled coldly. General, in the past 6 hours, Earth's automated factories have built more ships than both your empires have constructed in the past century. And every hour, we build more. The truth of her words was already becoming apparent. Human fleets were appearing throughout the galaxy, liberating occupied worlds and protecting refugee populations. The automated civilization seeds were working, around the clock, turning humanity into an industrial power beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. But Kate's most powerful weapon was not technology. It was the truth. Every species in the galaxy is watching this conversation, she continued. They're learning that the great empires they feared are actually just bullies who pick on those weaker than themselves. They're seeing that when the bullies face real strength, they run away and beg for mercy. Throughout Zephyrian and Hegemony, space, rebellions began breaking out. Species that had been oppressed for generations rose up against their alien overlords. The human broadcasts gave them hope that freedom was possible. Dr. Tony Kim had been right about alien psychology. Both empires had ruled through fear and the belief that they were naturally superior. When that belief was shattered, their power crumbled. The final confrontation came when both alien empires tried one last desperate attack on Earth itself. They gathered the remains of their fleets for a joint assault on humanity's home world. Admiral Kate Hayes met them at the edge of the solar system with a fleet that numbered in the tens of thousands, but she did not attack immediately. This is Admiral Hayes to all alien vessels, she broadcast. You have one chance to surrender. Lay down your weapons, return to your home systems, and begin repairing the damage you have caused. Refuse and face the consequences. You are only one species, the alien fleet commander replied. We are two great empires. We will crush you. Kate sighed sadly. Very well. You made your choice. The battle that followed was not really a battle at all. It was a demonstration of what happened when a peaceful species was finally pushed too far. Human weapons tore through alien hulls like they were made of tissue paper. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for generations were destroyed in seconds. But Kate did not try to wipe out the enemy fleets completely. When the alien commanders finally surrendered, she let the survivors go home. Why? Dr. Kim asked later. Why didn't you finish them off?